Well, holy shit. I actually managed to do it. After procrastinating for ages, I finally managed to produce an audiobook version of the Lunatic Fringe book. It's currently available on all Amazon sites, audible.com, and shortly on iTunes. And if you're the page-turning type, it's also, of course, still available in Kindle form, paperback, and hardback on Amazon. 10 hours and 10 years worth of Blue Skies Magazine's articles, all available to you right fucking now, including a few author's notes and even an apology or two. Enjoy.
In a world.
Mate, hold up. We said we're done with the serious intros.
Who said?
Well, we did.
I don't remember that.
Well, I said it, and you're me, so, you know.
Well, I don't care. In a world.
Hey, I told you. We're keeping it light.
You do it on your own then.
Well, technically, I already am. So, anyway. Fuck yeah. Pure wild flight. Get it down ya. How good? Visit nzaerosports.com.
I get to do the next one.
Well, obviously, you moron. We both do.
Of course, I absolutely love the NZ Aerosports business model. I mean, come on. One glance at an Icarus fuck yeah sticker and you know it lines up perfectly with the fucking pilot mentality. But outside their wonderful use of colorful language and a great company vibe, there's a long list of reasons to say NZ Aerosports fuck yeah. NZ Aerosports blows me away right out of the gate as a canopy manufacturer with a bold offer. They give you 10 jumps on your brand new nylon to decide if you want to keep it, swap it out, or even return it for a refund. I mean, seriously, how incredible is that? That's like getting halfway through a prom and deciding you prefer the slightly racier date that goes down faster. Seriously, they do that. If you're not madly in love with your new canopy after 10 jumps, they'll let you swap it out for another size or model, or even get your money back. And the range of canopies they've got? Man, they've got a style canopy to fit every jumper and every situation with models you know and trust, like the Sapphire 3, the perfect choice for the beginner or intermediate canopy pilot. The Crossfire 3, when you're ready to kick it up that elliptical notch. The JFX 2, if you're looking to up your new swoop game. The Leia as the workhorse and dirt water dirt beast. Or the Petra. The Petra cranks out crazy power and is nothing short of a record breaker. But hey, it's not always about speed either. Take the Kraken. Built as a low pack volume canopy specifically with wingsuiting in mind, she gives you all the performance you're looking for with the reliability you need that'll have you itching for that next formation, rodeo, or puffy cloud. So the equipment is top of the line kick-ass stuff as you already know, but how about the team? Well, the customer service gang is there to sort you out whenever you need them. Maddie and Beto are always there to help with Jen holding the reins. They're available for you at sales@nzaerosports.com, and they've got a kick-ass live chat tool on the website if you're wanting to hit someone up right away. These are the crew you're going to want to talk to get those custom orders in. With the stock nylon, once you know what you want, they'll have that shit on a FedEx truck as soon as the credit card machine says approved and get you in the air in no time. For your custom orders, you'll be able to get a time frame for building and shipping when you design it, so get to it. And demos. They've got demos in the US available from their partner Rock Sky Market. The whole US demo fleet is there with Sapphire 3, Crossfire 3, Kraken, JFX2, and Leia canopies in a range of sizes. They also offer student and tandem demos in the US. Bottom line, every step of the way, NZ Aerosports is there to get you what you need, and I personally couldn't be happier to be teamed up with them here on Lunatic Fringe. And now, time to get started with Lunatic Fringe Into the Void, brought to you proudly by NZ Aerosports. Fuck yeah.
Coming straight from the cockpit, it's another episode of Lunatic Fringe with the fucking pilot.
Never done anything like this before.
Oh, that stays in. That stays in. Ready, set, go. Back in the can for another edition of Lunatic Fringe Into the Void. And this is a special one because, first off, who the fuck are you guys and what do you do?
My name's Nicole. I'm a freelance instructor at the Skydive Dubai Desert Drop Zone.
So you jump out of airplanes for a living.
I do.
And who are you?
My name is Omar. I am an airline pilot and a freelance instructor at Skydive Dubai.
Nice.
So,
I've always wanted to talk to a real pilot. That's cool. That's really cool. But this is a special one because this is the last episode that's going to be in this studio, in a proper studio, because I retired. Woohoo! That's it. It's over. So to do the trick, let's see if I can knock. There we go. Champagne's open. Pull those glasses over here. Nicole and Omar, thank you for joining me for the last ever episode in this studio.
Thank you, Dee.
So as we get started, you both jump out of airplanes. You fly airplanes.
Yeah.
Nicole, how'd you get started in anything extreme?
My first job was on a small drop zone in South Australia as manifest.
Oh, you're one of them?
I am a manifest wench.
Most difficult job on the drop zone. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I just had a member of our manifest in, and by the way, cheers. Salute to manifestors all around the world. All right. So you started out as manifest. Was there anything that drew you to skydiving particularly, or you just like went and got a job?
I literally went and got a job. Like, it was advertised as like weekend administration, and then I drove out there and I was like, oh my God, skydiving. I didn't even know it was a skydiving drop zone near where I lived.
Really?
Yeah. And so just weekends it started off, and I kind of harassed them a little bit for the job, as you do.
I mean, you went out there and just hung out a little bit because you wanted that gig and bullied your way into it?
Yeah, and then I was at that drop zone for like 5 years on and off, just on the weekends, and then it kind of all went from there. Like, I moved to Queensland, and then I did manifest there on the weekends in between my 9 to 5.
Right.
And it just stuck with me. I didn't jump for 7 years working on drop zones, and then...
I never understood, to this day I still do not understand, how you can work manifest, go through all the headache and heartache of putting up with us, skydivers and fucking pilots, and not at least get the relief of jumping.
Yeah, I did I think 7 tandems over the years. And then I did my last tandem, we backflipped out of the plane. I'm like, okay, I'm ready.
Nice.
Yeah, it was cool.
Nice. So what was the 9 to 5?
I was in finance doing mortgage home loans for investment property.
Oh, then you definitely made a step up in the world. Holy shit, you were in real estate.
I was, yeah.
Fuck that. Oh man. All right. Well, that's a good start. That's a good start. Omar, how about you?
Well, I mean, it started when my mom and my dad, they met, And,
oh, fuck. Jesus Christ.
And my mom told me
Fast forward a little bit
I
more
was
than that.
backtracking all the time in the womb. And no, I actually started off, I did a couple of bungee jumps here in Dubai off some cranes with an old friend of mine. And he was like, oh, should we try this skydiving thing? I'm like, yeah, let's sign up for it. And we did. And English was not the best back then. Like, my English was not,
because it's so stellar now.
Yeah, I mean, I can barely understand myself now. Hearing myself over the mic, I'm like, oh God, is that how it sounds like? But yeah, we signed up, and we were thinking initially it was a tandem, but we got to the drop zone. They sent us an address, and it was the desert drop zone. I'm like, oh, cool. It's a different view than what I see in the pictures.
Sure.
And then they're like, oh, yeah, go to the classroom. And I sat there. I'm like, man, this is a really thorough briefing for a tandem jump, And then 7 hours later, I realized that I signed up for an AFF course, not a tandem course. So,
no shit.
Yeah.
So now a logical person at this point would be like, you know something? Thanks for all that. But
a logical person. But me at that time, I was training to become a pilot. So the money was not... I wasn't getting paid, so I was like, oh, I paid for this shit, so I'm going to say, watch these people do this thing.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough.
Go
so,
from there, yeah.
So your first jump was a Cat A AFF?
Cat A, yeah, never done a tandem.
No shit.
No.
How was that?
Scary.
I bet.
It was really scary. I mean, I think the night before I didn't actually sleep, so.
I bet. I mean, I had done a few tandems and I didn't sleep the night before my first or 10th AFF.
Yeah.
I didn't do 10, but whatever. Jesus. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty fucking ballsy to just go through with it anyway.
Yeah.
What about your friend?
Oh, he didn't show up.
Fucker.
He really didn't. He didn't show up.
Motherfucker. Right? What is it they say? If you're going to wait for your friends to go skydiving, you're going to be waiting a long
Yeah, we're
goddamn
not
time.
friends anymore. So.
That's what happens, right? That's why slowly but surely all your friends no longer have anything to do with you because you just fucking can't be bothered.
Yeah, and then I guess you choose your people at this point as well.
You're
yeah.
right. So how many years ago was this?
This was 9 years ago.
9 years.
2013. Yeah, next year will be 10 years in the sport.
Jesus. So I've been flying you your entire skydiving career.
Pretty much, yeah. I met you the day I started skydiving. Yeah.
Man, this makes me feel really old. That's
Yeah.
depressing. I think I should just stop the podcast.
I remember I was sitting as an AFF student there, and they're like, you know, the pilot, I'm like, why is he so grumpy? Oh, no, I'm joking.
Oh, and then you
I
realize.
barely remember the faces.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
Back then, yeah.
That's fucking wild. I didn't know that. I didn't realize that. Like,
Yeah.
like my starting memories of you, where you just fucking you're jumping all the time, is all I knew. And then I found out you were an airline pilot, and then I found out how weird you were, and I'm like, I fucking like this guy.
Yeah.
That's.
Got weirder over the years, though, no? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
As he gets a little bit more comfortable, he gets stranger and stranger and stranger.
and then by then it's too late.
Yeah.
We're already in.
Yeah. So you were training to become a pilot then, and you've now been a working airline pilot for
I've been flying on the line for 7 years.
7 years.
Yeah.
What are you flying?
I fly the Boeing 787 Dreamliner.
You're in an 87.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. All right. What do you think of it? Sucks, right?
I love it.
You lying sack of shit. Come on. I have never seen a jet jock that's flying those things look in the cockpit of a Twin Otter and not just go, oh. They look like they're having so much more fun.
It's the uniform, I think.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it. That's if I can fly those planes without a uniform, I think I'll last a bit longer. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, they don't let you fly the 87s barefoot, do they?
Nah, that's the best thing about it.
Yeah, I haven't worn shoes in 10 years. So you start out in Manifest.
Yeah.
You do 7 tandems or so. You do a backflip on the last one out and decide, all right, fuck it, I should actually get around to doing this.
Yeah, I also had like you stay at the drop zones and you party with everybody around the bonfire, you
Sure.
know? So they harass you as well, like, why don't you jump? Like, why don't you jump? Why don't you jump? And then like I had one guy's like, I will pay for you to do your level 1, like if you just skydive, you know? Like, and I was like, oh, I was so scared, like, I think it was the canopy for me. Like, I was like, I can't land a parachute. There's no way I can, like, pull that thing down. I can't steer a tandem canopy. Like, how the hell am I going to steer my own canopy?
Right.
And then I got through my AFF, no problem. And then I got scared.
And then you got scared
Yeah,
when
so-
they let you loose.
Yeah, like, I was by myself. I'm like, I think I've only ever done 2 solos, ever.
They're freaky.
From height. Like, apart from hop and pop.
Sure.
And I just was like, I don't want to do this by myself. I need someone to come with me.
Right. It's too
Like-
much time to think about it, right?
Yeah.
You're just like, fuck. There's so many things that I can fuck up right now.
You climbing, and I'm like, this is stupid. Like, what am I doing? This is so stupid.
Yeah, yeah.
And now I teach, which is, full circle.
It's wild how it happens, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, how long did it take before that fear started to back off?
A
No,
while.
she's still
Yeah,
scared.
or has it? I
She's
mean,
still scared.
yeah.
It depends what I'm doing. Like, it took, I think the first year I only did 25 jumps, and I was only jumping maybe like once a month
Sure.
or twice a month, you know?
Sure.
Like, and then once I started jumping more, I think when I got to Dubai is when I started jumping a lot more, and then I was getting okay. Like, now I'm fine. It just depends what I'm doing. Big groups I don't really like.
Sure. It's weird though, right? You'll be like halfway through a day and realize you haven't been nervous yet that day.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, fuck, now I'm nervous because I haven't been nervous yet. And there's now something's going to scare me because something's coming up. It's oh, yeah. It's the same thing in the cockpit. I'll be halfway through the day going, nothing fucked up has happened yet. And then all I can think about is what's
Why?
coming.
Why?
Something's going to scare the somebody's going to do something stupid. I can feel it coming. So when did you decide that you wanted to get in the plane for work instead of sitting behind the window?
I think actually COVID happened.
Really?
And like I was enjoying jumping a lot more. When COVID happened, we all got kind of made redundant from the desert. And then I started jumping a lot more, and I was like, oh, maybe actually I could train to do something, you
Sure.
know? And then we trained, like Omar actually trained me quite a lot, and then I did my rating.
Sure.
And then as soon as I was out of that box, I was like, there's no way I can go back in the
Right.
box. Like, there's no way I can go and sit there and watch everyone skydive every day.
I don't know how the fuck you guys handled it in the first place. And then you got to deal with assholes like me. Yeah. On top of everything, I've got to be the fucking icing on top of the cake.
We've had many incidents, I think.
Yeah. Where you're like,
Do
just...
a 360. No! I didn't get out so far away.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you, though. So going from the window and listening to the pilots bitch and moan about the stuff that goes on to now being in the plane and seeing what's going on.
Oh, I know what you're thinking. Like,
So-
if my student's at the door, and like at the door for like 20 seconds, I know what's going on in that. I know it's you on the radio being like, make sure you tell them to hurry up. Or kind of like push a student out of the plane. Like,
And now that I'm retired, I don't fly for him anymore. I can flat out admit that no, the last couple of years it'd just be the end of the jump run, and I'd just leave the green light on and going, yeah, it's red light. They're still trying to get out.
yeah, and I'm on the outside of the plane, like, oh god, like that's a rear.
Yeah. I'm literally going, which plane am I in and which side of the light's on? So once the instructor's outside, they can't see that I'm lying, that the fucking red light has never come on. Yeah. I fucking hated go around so much.
Definitely some long ones, especially like if you're the last one out and you have like a cat A who's never jumped before and they're at the door being like up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Oh, man. I'm like looking down like, this is going to be long.
Yeah. Well, but you, especially now going from manifest to that position, when you're the last one out, you're seeing what we're seeing in a much different way, because you're like, why are they taking so fucking long in the door? Because for me, it's just I'm a lazy cunt and I don't want to do a 360. But you're like, he's not going to do a fucking 360 and I don't want to land at the camel farm. So you finally kind of see it from our perspective a little bit.
I'm like, oh man, if we pass that camel farm on jump run, and I'm like, man, this student's going to take so long. Like, I already know.
Sure.
And we get really lucky if they just like, if they don't even count and go, we're like, okay.
Sure.
Like we're, you know.
For anybody listening in the States where the majority of the audience is, I've never really talked too much about Dubai. So them hearing that you use a camel farm as a spotting tool is probably unusual.
They're gonna be like, we knew it. Everybody rides camels there.
Like you don't know, you haven't been a pilot in Dubai if you haven't had to tell somebody to get the camels off the runway.
Yeah.
Like that's just part of flying in this place. So, but yeah. Yeah. So now 9 years is not a long time. I mean, it is a long time in the sport, but it's not a long time in the sport to get to the level of flying that you're at. And I know this because you've been my fucking coach in the tunnel. Fuck you. You've taken me on skydives that were borderline fucking a little crazy. Yeah. Definitely well above my fucking effort level at that point. Fuck you for that too. They were both a blast. But, I mean, you went from zero to hero pretty fucking fast. So how do you get that good that quick? Because you're an excellent flyer.
I mean, I think, well, I started off with, I did 400 skydives on my first year.
That's pretty busy for a new jumper.
Yeah, also maxed out 2 credit cards. If anybody wants to pay those
off that big starting pilot pay, right?
Yeah. So I think it's just the like, I don't know how to say it. It's being willing to just learn, really.
Sure.
I was just pushing too hard for that period of time. I think for the first 2 or 3 years, I was just pushing hard and getting coaching and any advice I can get in the drop zone. Anybody.
Sure.
Like, I was just talking to anybody. And back then, you don't know who's who anyway.
Sure.
Here in Dubai, we were lucky at that time having a lot of good flyers as well.
Sure.
And another thing I love about the sport is everybody's so fucking humble.
Sure.
You go talk to them, you're like, oh, how do I do this? How do I do that? And it was just because of that, just chatting with people and just jumping with people.
Sure.
Really. Yeah.
Well, and the social aspect in Dubai is similar in that, of course, you have the community that becomes such close friends. And there's actually a lot of local jumpers that come out during the season in the desert drop zone and a lot of staff that work the palm. So you've got a pretty big community. You don't have the party scene that you would have had in Australia. So you kind of miss out on that unless you're traveling.
Yeah.
Because it's not the big crazy party town here. But it's still got that community feel to it. Even more so, I think, a little bit. There's a lot more couples here than I've seen in most drop zones.
Yeah.
At the desert, yeah.
at both drop zones that actually seem to last.
Yeah.
Like most of the couples that I know from my time in Dubai are still together,
Yeah.
which is pretty unique, really.
Yeah, it's good.
Because usually it's just tag. You're it.
Who's next?
Yeah.
So you don't lose your girlfriend, you
Lose your turn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that goes both ways. I'm not sexist. Fucking guys and girls are.
You lose your turn too.
Yeah. They're all pretty bad. So when did you start really going balls out in the sport? And like pretty much right off the bat. But how did you balance that with being a new pilot for an airline?
No sleep.
I mean,
I mean, yes.
fair enough.
I mean, yeah, we've known each other for a while, and she knows my schedule was just I get back from a flight, go to the drop zone, 0 sleep sometimes, and just go charging and jumping. You know?
Sure.
And like
sure.
working as well. Like he would just come in off a flight, and this is when I was in Manifest, and I'm like, "Did you sleep?" He's like, "Sure," and I'm like, just saying that, and then jump all day, and then go on another flight. Like,
I think it's just you gotta prioritize what you want and all that. And
Sure.
I didn't have that much time of rest. And honestly, I was sleeping maybe 4 hours a night or something.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
just
I think-
running on naps and.
I think we definitely all did it, but how was the airline side of things? I mean, my personal image of the modern airline pilots is you guys fucking fall asleep and fly past your destination by 45 minutes. And then it ends up on CNN.
That was one time, okay?
Yeah, that one fucking time. Which cracks me up. I mean, that's my image and I'll stick with it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good image, yeah.
I mean, you tell me, because I've done 2 years in the airline, but it was hand flying Twin Otters, and although I had jump seat privileges, I've only ridden in the jump seat once to actually watch, a cross country flight in a jet, and it didn't look like they did very much.
I mean, yeah, you don't do much, obviously, with all the technology these days. You get up to 1,000 feet, you put the autopilot on, and then pretty much you're just chilling until you have to land the plane. But
Do you guys land the planes? Sometimes?
Sometimes. No, we do all the time, except when there's no viz. If it's too foggy and we can't see the runway, then it's auto landing.
Just that word
It's
puckers my asshole
I've done
up.
it twice in the last 7 years, and it's not fun. I gotta
can't
tell
be.
you, you can't trust the computer that much.
No. Oh my God! Just the idea of I'm just gonna watch this plane hit the ground.
Oh, yeah, although like even the auto landing when we did it, and the flare was so smooth and the landing was so smooth, and I was like, holy shit.
Well, that was always the running joke around jump pilots is whenever you get a really smooth landing in an airliner, it's because the computer did it.
Yeah. You're just sitting there like, holy shit, I'm not going to have a job in like 3 years.
Right.
That's it,
I don't know. I think the only thing that is saving pilots' jobs is the fact that, at least for now, people won't be comfortable getting in planes that don't have
Absolutely.
people to pay the price up front if they
Yeah,
fuck it up.
Absolutely. It's just they don't trust
not yet.
technology and computers that much. Yeah.
Not yet. I mean, the automatic driving cars are still killing people.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
You don't want that 38,000 feet in the air.
no, with 400 people in the back,
Yeah.
no, I can't imagine that quite yet.
Yeah.
So I think you're safe.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, so you go balls out into skydiving, and you obviously really fell for the sport because you're sacrificing life and limb to keep it going, and then you start doing the coaching stuff. And when did you just decide, fuck it, I'm all in, this is what I'm going to do?
That was, I think all the drop zones started opening after COVID, and I started coaching a lot more, and I fell in love with that. That made me want to go to the drop zone more than just jumping for myself.
Sure.
So I found the passion in teaching other people how to skydive. So that for me, really picked things up.
Sure.
And that's what I love the most. I take a lot of baby skydivers after the license, and then teach them formation and teach them how to actually get to their friends instead of doing an exit and then solos. So it's been really fun, and I have a really good group of people who know that they enjoy my coaching too, I think. So
Nice.
That's nice. We have a lot of fun together.
Any daydreaming about chucking drugs at some point, or
Everyone's harassing me about that now.
you're gonna hear it?
They're oh, but that's where the money's at. And I was like,
Just
oh,
do
that's
it.
where dreams go to die.
just do it.
I listen to a lot of people that do tandems, and they're just like, don't do it. And then they're like, yeah, but that's where the money is. You'll get hired everywhere. You know, that's why I'm a freelancer, is because I don't have my tandem rating. But yeah, I don't know. It's a bigger canopy. And I don't want to slam somebody into
No, these canopies now, I'm telling you, these tandem canopies nowadays are, you do just fine flying them. And if the thing that you vibe off so much is working with the students, it's a different fucking vibe every single load. My favorite way to skydive out of all my skydives is tandems. Because you got to play 30-second psychologist, figure out what's going to get this person out the door with the least amount of fuss and the most amount of fun. And if they're melting down, can I get them out the door? Yeah. And why knock wood? Fuck knocking wood. I'm never going to take another tandem again. I never had a refusal. I managed to get every single one of them out of the plane. I think you would love it.
I think I just like, okay, you don't have to go. No worries, we'll just lie down.
Yeah, no.
I'm so sympathetic. Like, it's okay.
Well, that's where you play the sexist card and go, dude, really?
Yeah, I mean, yes, probably I would. But I do love watching tandems, like especially jumping at the palm, and you're the first one out, and their faces as you leave the plane is the best. So I think I want to train for camera this year also.
Nice.
So just to, it's going to be great. Their faces.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it used to be so much fun. That was half of the reason that I would just go out to the drop zone and do hop and pops, is so that I could roll out the door with some tandems just shitting themselves as I go out the door. And I've got someone literally shoving me out the door as I'm screaming like something's going horribly wrong. So much fun. But it's just as much, if not more fun, than being the instructor that's clipped onto the person sitting watching that going, ooh, that didn't look very fucking good.
I think my favorite part is like when they you get messed with a little bit and it's like, God, like, where's your goggles? Why don't you have your goggles? And they panic. They full panic because they can't find their goggles and they can't see them.
Oh yeah, you can pick almost anything, and with the majority of tandem students, get them to obsess about almost anything all the way up, and it's fucking hilarious. No, you can't. But the great thing with the tandems is you get to have the inside joke fun with the rest of the load without actually fucking with the person. You just mess with them a little bit.
Yeah.
Back in the day, we were much, much worse. And we were also in the States, so we were...
I think we were a lot less offensive back then also.
A lot less offended, and we were much more offensive than we are now. Like, people get offended by so much less now than they did back then, and we were so offensive back then.
What was your favorite joke?
Oh, well, the worst joke I ever said, I don't even think I want to say. And I had to read it for the book. We were doing tandems at a drop zone called Skydance just outside of San Francisco. San Francisco, all right? I was born and raised right near San Francisco. I've been born and raised around all different ethnicities and sexual orientations and all this stuff, and I have a horrible sense of humor. But it didn't dawn on me that perhaps telling gay jokes on board a skydiving aircraft might not be a good idea. And me and my buddy would, you know how you get on with a tandem instructor that you're just friends with, and you'll start riffing off of each other back and forth and telling horrible fucking jokes. And we were just lobbing these horrible jokes back and forth, and I come out with my doozy, boom. And his student is laughing and mine's not. And it's just about time to get hooked up. So I'm like, all right, well, that was the last one anyway. My student doesn't like that joke. Clip, 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 clip. And then we're like, all right, you guys say goodbye. We're getting ready to go. And instead of giving a high five, the two gentlemen leaned in and kissed. And both me and my buddy instructor are like, oh. Oh, no. And in retrospect, my horror in that situation isn't that I told a gay couple a really tasteless gay joke. It's when I did it.
Yeah.
Because when I did it, fucked up my student's skydive. Like, I guarantee you he landed, and even if he loved it 3 minutes later, he's that fucking son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Right? I guarantee he hated my guts, and I regret that because I ruined his skydive. Whereas if I had told it on the ground afterwards, then I would have just been some asshole, and they got to talk about the skydive, not what I did in the plane. So in that respect, I guess we're headed in the right direction. But yes, we are getting much more sensitive. But now you'd have the opportunity, if you're chucking drugs, to be able to wind your way through that. It's so much fun.
We'll see. I think maybe the end of the season.
And what do you do working in the sport?
Well, when I initially started, I was doing a lot of AFF at the desert, and then I got into tandems.
Oh,
You're gonna love it. Just do it.
I heard you after the
And then now the last 2 years, I've just been free fly coaching, but mostly
nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
trying to do some crazy jumps with people.
We did a jump a couple years ago.
Yeah,
was
we
it?
did.
It would have been 3 or 4 years ago.
It was, yeah. I think it was 4
And
4 years ago.
I think the entirety of the dirt dive was go on your head and I'm going to grab you.
Yeah,
And we're going to go really fast.
that's it. Simplicity.
And it was
Simple.
just you holding my harness and my holding your fucking harness, head down, doing fucking Mach 5. And I remember thinking, we should let go now, and your grin's just getting bigger. And I'm like, I'm not going to fucking let go until he does, but we really should let go. I can't even check my altimeter, and I'm feeling the paint coming off my fucking helmet. We should really let go. And when we finally did, it was just wham! You're just gone in different directions. That was a lot of fun.
That was.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, that's everybody has a way of teaching, right? And there's like different philosophies. For me, I just keep it simple. I feel like people would understand it when you just keep it simple.
Sure.
Because people pay attention for however long. Everybody's different. But I can sit there and talk to you about free flying for half an hour before the jump, or I can go 10 minutes call. Look, this is what we're doing. This is what you're going to be doing with your body.
Sure.
And this is what you're going to feel. Let's go.
Yeah.
And then after that jump, you're going to realize how far you can go and what you can do with your body, you know? So, I
Well,
don't know. It's,
the benefit to it, too, is there may be students out there that don't gel with that style, but there are going to be students that do.
Yeah.
So there's always a different instructor to go with a style that matches their students.
of course, yeah.
Which is great.
And you as a coach as well, you would adjust your style to different people. But
Sure.
I would say the core of my teaching is just keeping it simple like that.
Sure. Well, that's why when you were coaching in the tunnel and we would go in, I flew much better with you than I did anybody else because you're like, this guy's fucking jumped a lot, turn up the wind,
Yeah.
and give him a little room to fuck himself.
Yeah.
Like, you gave me rope.
Yeah.
You're like, here, take some rope, hang yourself, motherfucker, let's go.
Yeah.
But I flew much better, and then I proved to you I wasn't going to break my neck on your watch, and
Yeah.
I'd get a little bit more speed. And then I remember going in the tunnel after with a different instructor like a week later who would not turn up the air for me, and I'm like, of course my fucking arms are above my shoulders trying to fly on my head because all I'm trying to do is get off the net.
Yeah.
Give me some, I'm fat, give me
Yeah.
some speed.
Yeah.
So it was nice that you're like, no, clearly, give him a little bit more air and then back it down from there. I like that.
I mean, safety first, right? Always.
Ish.
But
That's what we say.
yeah, that's what we say. But there's cases like that you're like, if the person is willing,
Sure.
you know, and I know that I'm going to keep you safe,
Sure.
I will put the wind speed up.
Sure.
You know?
Well, skydiving is such a do as I say, not as I do sport,
Yeah,
isn't
absolutely. Oh.
it? Which is the worst thing because it's very difficult to work, especially when you're doing coaching in AFF and then they catch you doing something that you're like fully telling them not to do. And you're like, yeah, I have no justification for my own behavior.
Do as I say. On the bus.
Yeah. Yeah. You'll understand someday. It's literally like dealing with a bunch of little kids.
Yeah.
Now we have all the students coming through that are the tunnel flyers, right?
Oh
So you have the students coming through that's like, I've got like 15 hours in the tunnel, and they want to free fly straight away in student gear, not understanding the risk. So you sound like an asshole
Yeah.
to them, saying like, no, but you can't do that in the sky. I don't care if you can do it in the tunnel.
Yeah.
Like, you can't do that in the sky yet until you have the proper gear, and they just do not give a shit.
Yeah.
They do not want to listen to you. You're an asshole. You don't know what you're talking about.
Sure.
And like, you're just like, oh man.
Yeah.
The tunnel.
I gotta-
And
I-
just see what happens.
Oh, yeah.
I have a bone to pick with the tunnel flyers, but I'm not gonna pick it on this
Oh,
podcast.
pick it. Pick it.
I would love
Absolutely. Because I'll bitch. I'm OG tunnel, man. I started in the
I know,
the
yeah,
Las
yeah.
Vegas
Yeah.
fucking wind tunnel.
I know, yeah.
Way back in the day, and people hated us then because we were flying just a little bit above where we should have been jump numbers wise. But now, tunnel flyers are so much more advanced body flight wise, but they know jack shit when it comes to actual skydiving until they've learned.
Exactly.
So pick
yeah.
your bone.
Oh, well, that was the bone. To
Nah,
pick.
but it's got to come from you. Come on.
Yeah, you said it, dude.
These guys already know I'm an asshole, so come on, share the love.
I mean, that's what you said. It doesn't mean that you can fly so good and you know, like how to fly your body. It does not make you a good skydiver
Sure.
at the end of the day. But they come to the drop zone and they think that they're good skydivers, and there's a lot of things that.
There's a lot of ego in both sports, right?
Yeah, there is.
I think here, from what I've noticed here to other drop zones, I think people get put in their place very quickly. Like newer people coming through, that their ego is through the roof, and it's like, man, this is not going to serve you.
Right.
You are going to hurt yourself. And then other drop zones I've seen, especially in the States, just because you're from the States, the ego is through the roof, but the flying's not necessarily the best, you know. And we are very, very lucky here, like Omar said before, that we have such amazing flyers here. So I've got to learn from some freaking incredible people.
Sure.
And then I go somewhere, it's like I fly with somebody, and then like their ego is like, I am the best in the world. And I'm like, are you there? Like, have you been anywhere else to fly? Like, just go fly with somebody else.
Yeah.
And then you'll see the level, you know? Like, I'm very humble, I guess, in my scale. I'm like, I can't do that. Like, why would you want me to come? And, like, until I try.
Sure.
But, yeah, like, it's not so bad here at the desert.
Yeah, no,
I don't know about the farm.
and
I've been there for a while.
I kind of agree. I mean, I don't know how many times I'd be at the desert and Vince and Fred, the Soul Flyers, would be out there, or El Hijalon is out there, and the jumpers that are there that are becoming good skydivers have no fucking clue who they're sharing time on the packing mat with and who they're jumping with, other than, oh yeah, that's that Omar guy. I met him the other day. And you're like, dude, you have no fucking clue.
Kind of tells you something about the sport, though, right?
It
like
does.
At any other sport, they're gonna be like so famous, pictures everywhere, but
Well, I always think, I always thought skydivers should be paid by the amount of risk that we take in any sport. I mean, we'd be more well paid than fucking football players. For
that's
fuck's
for
sake.
sure. Yeah,
You know,
absolutely,
and a lot more famous than them. But yeah, it's funny because you see the people that are becoming talented, but they have no idea really where it comes from. And it's not, it doesn't take away from what they learn in the tunnel. They just learn so much faster, and it's so much of an accelerated pace. Whereas I learned how to free fly 45 seconds at a time.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's how I learned.
Yeah, I don't really enjoy the tunnel as much as I enjoy the sky.
Sure.
So everything I've learned in the sky, and I kind of refine things a little bit in the tunnel more so. Like, I'm scared of the tunnel. That has walls. I don't like it. I don't like getting hurt.
I think I have different fears for both of them. I think there's more a fear of actual fear and safety in skydiving, because obviously if you fuck up too bad, there's an ultimate price to pay. And in the tunnel, I have a fear of humiliation
because people can see you.
Yeah, and I don't ever want I don't like that somebody knows, oh no, you've been jumping for how long? No, don't fucking say that, because now I'm gonna get in the tunnel and you're gonna be like, oh.
Yeah.
It's very different though. Like even if you have been skydiving for a long time, and the first time you get in a tunnel, you look like a student. You're an AFF student again, like completely, like.
Which is kind of cool.
Yeah, it is.
It is. Yeah, it is kind of cool. So you started in Dubai, but you've been able to travel and jump around the world now.
Yeah.
So what do you think of other places? Where are the coolest places you've been now? I mean, were you taking your rigs to work with you so you could go jump in places?
I did, I think, one base jump / skydive on a work trip to Switzerland.
What's a base jump / skydive?
I mean, it was
a really high
jump
base
from
jump?
a helicopter with base rigs. So it means you can play longer and just open really fucking close to the ground.
Yeah.
So that was probably the only time that I jumped while working, because I had 2 days on a layover somewhere, and I jumped there. But yeah, I jumped in a lot of places, but I don't know my favorite. That's a hard question.
Sure. Well, where are the big places you've been? Have you been to like Skydive Arizona, Chicago?
I've been to Chicago. I've been to Arizona, Skydive Arizona. But jumping wise or events wise, I think Skydive Chicago was always my favorite.
Well, they kind of go all out, don't they?
Yeah, like all the big waves and all that. That was a good part of it.
Yeah. And the parties.
And the parties.
And the parties.
Yeah. Skydive Arizona has a special kind of vibe for me as well, because I have more friends, closer friends in Skydive Arizona as well.
Sure.
So when I go there, it's mostly not to skydive, just to
Fair
hang
enough.
out, you know?
Fair enough. It's weird though, right? I mean, you can start and have most of your skydiving career in one location in Skydive Dubai, and end up with friends and couches all around the fucking
Everywhere,
world.
yeah. Absolutely.
That's the best thing I think about skydiving is like wherever you go, you have a family, and there's
Oh, yeah.
always somebody willing to take you in.
Oh, yeah.
Everywhere. Like I think I've traveled through Europe like that.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yes. You can couch surf around the world as a skydiver.
Anywhere, yeah.
Very effectively. Very effectively. Yeah, Chicago, man, Brooke and the crew out there know how to put on a show.
Yeah, they do, absolutely.
Well, I flew for the competition for 4 years at
Yeah.
CSC, and we used to finish operations for 4th of July and Summerfest and fly the planes to Skydive Chicago for the parties.
I don't think they do that anymore.
Yeah, I don't think so. They don't do that anymore? Oh, man. The last time I did that, the owner of CSC and I flew over, and we flew the entire staff over for 4th of July. And then, of course, 4th of July wraps up, and everybody gets back in the planes, and we got to fly home. But the drop zone was still at Hinckley. It wasn't at the new location in Rochelle. So Hinckley had no runway lights, no nothing. There's no moon. It's dark as fuck. And everybody in the back of the plane is drunk as hell. I'm in the pack, Doug's in the Otter, and we got to go back to CSC and land in the dark. Right? Yeah. And so we made a fake fucking ILS out of the GPS. I'm like, all right, this is the landing area. I know that it's this far off the runway. So if I just run straight down the jump run this way, it'll be great. And I'm descending and descending and descending. Nothing. And Doug's in the Otter above me. He's like, you land first. I'm like, all right, no problem. All right, fine. And so I'm descending lower and lower and lower. And I get down to like sub 100 feet and the runway should be coming up. And I also know that there's a house that's on the field, and all of a sudden the house lights up right in front of me, so I know it's a slight right bank and I'm on the runway. And I'm like, put it down, and everybody in the back is drunk. They don't care. They're
That's the best landing ever.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, my heart is jumping out of my fucking chest, and Doug is flying around above me going, yeah, so just park at the end of the runway and shine your landing lights down the runway. Fuck you, man.
That's why you want to do first.
Yeah, absolutely. He just wanted me on the ground for the landing light, but yeah, that was probably the most intense. But that was just to go to a Skydive Chicago party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They know how to party for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
I love it there.
Yeah. Please, go ahead.
But I mean, favorite place, I think, not like in that sense, I think the favorite view, I would say, was Mexico, man.
Really?
Yeah.
Where?
The coastline in Playa del Carmen.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just south of Cancun. I think for me, obviously I should say Skydive Dubai, the Palm, but I feel like when you're from somewhere and you do thousands of jump over place, you're like,
Sure.
oh yeah, that's a cool view. But
Sure.
there, that natural and that coastline, I think was my favorite, especially with the Caribbean Sea and those colors
It's pretty
really
amazing.
Special, yeah.
I mean, there's no denying that jumping and flying over the Palm is spectacular.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
It's absolutely spectacular.
absolutely.
It's not what I would. It's like I described Las Vegas. I don't think it's beautiful. I think it's spectacular, and there's a huge difference. My favorite was jumping over Fiji.
Yeah.
300 and something islands, these deep blue and green seas, coral reefs everywhere. That's beautiful, and spectacular. But the Palm is absolutely spectacular. It really is. But it's also very weird to be jumping over top of that place or flying over the top of it, looking at my apartment building.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first time on break off, and I was tracking towards the buildings.
Yeah.
And it's so just like, oh my god, it's right there. Like,
Yeah.
it's intense.
Yeah.
Like, it's intense, and I think like we've jumped together before there. And I've just turned the other way and tracked over the ocean, so he had to go into the building. Because I was like, oh no. And even the wheel, man. The wheel was, 900 feet?
Yeah.
So if you're pulling, like, as a fun jumper there, you're getting out first. And if the jump run is that direction, like, you are like, I'm just going to pull a bit higher or, like, try to track away from the wheel. Like, it's intense. I haven't had a cutaway at the bottom. Like, I haven't. So,
Sure.
But I can't imagine the first people out that have a cutaway and you are over that wheel.
For sure. Well, and we would try and adjust our flying so that nobody was ever directly over it, but you're never perfect with the jump runs. You're going to get a fair amount of drift, and who knows what's going on.
Depends in the jump, no. Like,
And-
depends what we're doing.
And what the emergency is if you got to cut away, if you got a spinner that's taking you towards the wheel. Yeah, that shit's intimidating.
Yeah, it is. I understand why it's 1,000 jumps.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's a lot of people with 1,000 jumps that the mentality is still not there yet.
Oh, I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot of people come through the Palm that had no fucking business jumping at the Palm. Yeah, man.
I mean, a lot of people here everyone's goal is to jump at the palm, but they don't realize.
Not just here, I think everywhere. Like anywhere you go, people are like, "Oh, I want to jump in the palm."
Yeah.
Like,
It is intense, like, especially like the first jumps there. I remember my first jumps there, and I remember just being white as a ghost doing my hop and pop, and Shunka was looking at me like, "What the hell is wrong with you?" I'm like,
Right.
"I'm scared." He's like,
The landing area is a lot bigger than it looks right now.
It is quite big.
Yeah. No, I remember because I probably flew here for 4 years before I jumped. Maybe 3.5, 4 years before I made my first jump here again. And so the view to me was just another day in the sky, So I never got that intimidation jumping over the palm because I'd been flying over it. But starting flying here, I mean, it's like putting a really busy drop zone in the middle of Central Park.
yeah.
It's just in the absolute airspace wise and building wise the worst possible place for a drop zone, which also makes it really fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like as a skydiver, you're like, hell yes, even though it's woof.
There's always that fun game you can play as well, and like break off and then just sit there, look at each other, look at the Princess Tower, and be like, "I'm gonna pitch right when it's just hey, do what I say.
Right.
To a base rig,
Yeah.
Jump to base rig from there, so that you can do.
So were you part of the big jump off Princess Tower? Or
No, I wasn't a base jumper back then, actually.
or you've done something sneaky since that we're not supposed to talk about?
Yeah, no.
Never.
Do people even base jump? in
No,
Dubai?
hell
never,
no.
no.
Okay. I remember realizing just how off the wall this place was when I'd been here a couple of years and they had the Dream Jump event. And it was a week-long event. And I remember being out for a jog and hearing woohoo and looking up and seeing, I think it was Micah and Noah in the gang in free fall and not even watching the whole jump, just going, oh, yep, there they are. And then it dawned on me, Jesus Christ, my friends are jumping off of the neighboring building and there's a special landing area for them. And I'm not even bothering to look because they do so much bizarre stuff.
I mean, it just gives you like an understanding of how high those buildings are.
Yeah.
Like you can literally go into free fall jumping from that building and do the craziest shit.
They were turning points.
Yeah, exactly. You turn points and then you open your parachute and you still have a lot of time before you land.
I think that for anybody listening, if you YouTube or Google the Dream Jump Dubai Princess Towers, it'll come up, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah, it's...
Well, and then when they were doing all the wingsuit flying through the buildings and all that stuff, and we were all flying them, and you're watching as I'm descending in the airplane, and they've got smoke going, and I'm watching them carving around the buildings, and ridiculous.
Yeah,
it
it's
really
crazy.
is.
I think my favorite one was Matt and Nick off the Burj Khalifa.
Yeah.
PlayStation advertisement, yeah.
Not only off of that, but around it and through the building.
Through the building, yeah.
Absolutely insane.
That's a special one, for sure.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, it's iconic anyway,
Yeah.
right? You had Vince and Fred did it first.
Yeah.
And it's been jumped a few times, but the Matt and Nick one is the one that stood out as the most spectacular for me because it was a night jump too.
Yeah.
It's a night jump, and there was no platform.
Yeah.
They just jumped from the top of the mountain. This is
Fucking
from
boys,
the top
man.
of the building. So.
Jesus, the stones on those boys.
No.
So when did you start base jumping?
I start... Oh. Do we have to go into
Oh,
this?
are we getting into? Just say it was somewhere else. We'll pretend it was somewhere else.
Yeah, it was somewhere else.
You
and
started
it
base
was
jumping in America somewhere.
Yeah, it was what was
On
it?
a
It was
long layover.
5 years ago, so that would be 5 years. Yeah, 2016. Yeah, no, it was 6 years ago.
Was it
I
something?
got here 2017 and you already...
Yeah, 2016 I started base jumping.
Was it something that had intrigued you from the beginning, or was it because of who you were around?
I think I was always, like I said, I just wanted to try new shit. Right?
Sure.
And then when you, like you said, when all your friends are doing it. So the first year, actually, I didn't go with the crew that went there.
Sure.
And started jumping in Europe. But the second year, I was like, I actually want to see how it feels.
Sure.
You know? And just like skydiving, as soon as I did it, I'm like, that's how I found out I got an addiction problem. You know, every time I do something, I'm like, I want to do more. I want to do more. You know.
Now, what did the family think first of you starting skydiving? and then of doing stupid
Oh, they
shit
wanted
like base
nothing
jumping.
to do with it.
I
They're
bet.
like- they were like, oh, you want to do it? You go pay for it yourself. Do whatever you want. Just don't die.
Sure. And this is while you're doing something that I'm sure they were proud of, which is becoming an airline pilot.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Wow.
They
So
see
you're just-
they see that part and they're like, a job, a steady job. That's it. He's doing well. Anything else, it's fine. Just don't die.
So as you get older, you're just falling well below expectations. for the
Yeah,
family.
pretty much. Yes.
Wow. Wow. Okay. I like it. I like it.
So yeah, I mean, I started base jumping, not the right way, and then I had the infamous accident that everybody knows about.
Tell us more.
No, you do
Tell us
not-
more.
Yeah,
Yes.
So so I started base jumping, not the right way. I would say for anybody listening, if you want to base jump, you do a course. I didn't do a course, and I went to Switzerland, Lauterbrunnen. I think they actually wrote an article about me. Actually, they were like, "Yeah, this kid came in thought he can do it," because what we don't understand is like, or what I started to learn as I did more base jumping is two different sports.
Sure.
And there's a lot of people, including me back then, that, I got 1,000 jumps, I can base jump.
Sure.
But it's a whole different sport.
Sure.
But back then I didn't know that. And I went to Switzerland, Lauterbrunnen, Yellow Ocean. That's the exit. And I jumped off Yellow Ocean and I had the line twist with a 180, which back then was not jumping a suit as well. So I wasn't very far from the mountain.
Sure.
And because of my skydiving experience, I treated it as a skydiving emergency, and I just slammed into the wall. And yeah,
How high up the wall?
well,
How many times did you hit the wall?
twice. I hit it twice, got stuck there for 2 hours, and then because the canopy just got stuck on a little rock, and then that rock gave in, and then I fell down and I smacked the mountain again. So it was 3 times in total.
Oh, Jesus. I didn't know this story.
It's quite high up, I think.
Yeah, it was halfway. So Yellow Ocean is maybe 1,000 feet, I would say, or 1,000 something. So I was maybe 400 feet, 500 feet.
And you landed from this and survived it and didn't swear off base jumping.
I didn't land. I just slid off the mountain.
I'm picturing. I have a vague image of Wile E. Coyote at this point. Fucking just.
it was the canopy was broken. It was full of water because there's a waterfall coming. So it was just the rock gave, and I was slammed into it and just slid down the wall for.
What were you thinking,
300
hanging there for
for it.
2 hours?
Well, I was actually texting Craig at that moment.
You were
But-
texting him.
Yeah, but my phone was like, because of the water, it was just like sending weird texts and shit. And I'm trying to press something, and it's sending him cat emojis, and he's just sitting on the ground. He just watched his friend almost die, and he's like, "Why are you sending me cat emojis?" I'm like, yeah, because he's all like on like full like survival mode. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I called the helicopter, and I want to tell him, hey, yes, okay, cool, bro, like I can move everything, I'm fine. And it's just sending him like a cat with a heart, like I love you or something. And it was the funniest thing.
I'm not a pussy. I love you.
Yeah, I mean, the minute I hit, I think for a lot of people that did have accidents, skydiving or base jumping, the first thing when you hit, you start checking yourself. You're like,
Sure.
Can I move my feet? Can I
Sure.
move my legs? Is my back okay? So that was my initial thought. And then because I was hanging, the harness was hanging on my thigh,
Right.
and it was cutting the blood flow. And I
Oof.
thought that I couldn't move my left leg. So in the text I sent to Craig, I'm like, oh yeah, no, I'm fine. I can move everything except my left leg. And I was like, this is weird, you know? But then after I fell down, I realized, oh, that was just because of the blood flow.
Right.
Yeah.
Jesus. I mean,
What was going through my head?
a whole lot, I'm guessing.
A whole lot. But it's a question that people ask me all the time. They're like, did you ever think that you were going to die? And I don't think I did. That thought didn't even go through my head.
I can identify with that because I've been in some pretty sketchy situations before, and in retrospect, I'm like, oh, I should have probably fucking died then.
Yeah.
But while it's all going on,
You never think
you're
that.
not.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever gone, this is it.
Yeah.
Even when it could have been.
Yeah.
Oof.
Even if it's super close, I don't think I ever went like, oh yeah, this is it.
I think Omar has like 12 lives though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's why
I
he
used
kept
to feel-
sending cat emojis.
That's true.
Every cat emoji was another fucking cat life.
Yeah, Craig is like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "No, I'm a cat. I'm fine."
Yeah,
no
9
worries.
9 lives. Ding, 8 lives.
Yeah.
Ding, 7. I'm good though. It's fine.
Exactly, yeah.
Fucking hell! But you got through all of that and kept base jumping.
Yeah, I went base jumping 4 months after.
You guys, man, you fucking worry me.
Yeah.
I have a friend by the name of Ammon McNeely who is a professional rock climber. He's one of the Stone Monkeys. He's famous in Yosemite, famous around the world for climbing. And he and a crew came out to Skydance and were our AFF students for a week. And they came out flat out telling us, we're only learning how to skydive because we climb these mountains and we want to start jumping off of them. And we're like, all right, fuck it, let's go. Not knowing that these guys were like actual rock stars. So we teach them. And then, of course, become friends with them. And then years later, we're seeing videos of them doing all this amazing shit. And Nick Martinez and Ivo Ninov and him. And then Ammon, you may or may not have seen his video on YouTube. He had a 180 and slammed into a wall and almost ripped his foot off. And he's sitting in the rocks in Moab. And he's holding the camera to his face. And he's all, well, Mom, sorry about that one. I think I might have lost my leg. And then films his foot is just hanging on by a fucking thread. That guy's not just only still a base jumper and still an active rock climber. He ended up actually, I think, losing the other leg, and he still climbs. So you guys just don't fucking quit. I mean, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, I mean, the thing, if you have an accident skydiving or base jumping, what went through my mind, I was like, if I don't do it now, I'll never do it.
Yeah.
You know? And it was right there and then when you do it and you survive a few times after that and you have fun, you're like, you know what? I learned from it and that's it, you know?
Sure.
But I think even skydiving is the same thing, you know?
It is. Well, I broke my leg on my 25th jump and I was on the next load on my 26th jump.
It's not like you're going to go like, oh, I hurt myself while skydiving. Oh, I'm never going to skydive again, you know?
Well,
yeah.
I did the same thing that most idiots do. I stood up on a broken leg and pretended like it didn't hurt as bad as it did, both for myself and for everybody around me, and then got on the plane like an idiot, still pretending, oh, it's fine. And then like 3/4 of the way up, as my leg is so swollen I can't bend it, did I stay in the plane?
No.
That landing was amazing. It was the one before that I fucked up.
Yeah, I know. But, like, you know when you jump with an injury?
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I'm just going to slide it in. Like, I remember, like, I twinged my knee, and I'm like, I'm just going to slide it in.
Sure.
And then I remembered I don't really slide.
Right.
So I came in, and I was like, I'm just going to slide, going to slide it out. And then I slid it on my belly. On my ass. And I just remember Darwish coming and like, your knee still fucked? So I'm like, yeah. He's like, just go home. I was like, okay, just go home.
Well, I only had 25 jumps at the time, and one of the guys I was going down to down to Paris Valley with had said, don't bother renting a rig. I've got a spare rig you can use. And I remember asking what's in it, and he's all, don't worry, it's docile. Well, I had been flying a PD 210, I think, and it was a Turbo Z 165.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, top skin was ZP.
Yep.
Like, it was a proper canopy.
Big downside.
Oh, yeah, on my 25th jump. And I remember opening up and not even touching the brakes and going, I am going 8 times faster than I've ever gone before, and I still got to release the brakes, and did that. And so, of course, I panic flared at like 30 feet and then made the ultimate mistake. I let up on the toggles thinking I did it too high. Bam!
Oh.
Yeah, so the next time around, I wasn't thinking slide. I was just thinking, please don't do that again. Please don't do that again.
I mean, I think a lot of people do that. Like, sometimes they just forget. I was jumping with a guy the other day, and he downsized 10 square feet, a normal downsize, so. And he just forgot to flare. He got to his shoulders and stopped, and just slid it in on his belly, and was very embarrassed by it. And he's like, oh my God. And he's like, what happened? And I filmed it, of course, because I'm his coach and I'm jumping. I film everything. And I was like, mate, you didn't flare. I was like, no, I did. I'm like, mate, your hands did not go past your shoulders.
Sure.
And he was just like, he jumped it already with a little bit of wind, and then there was no wind on this landing, and just freaked out. And I'm like, yeah, well, you got a bit of mud on you now. He was okay.
Yeah.
Thankfully, he was okay. But he was very embarrassed. He was like, okay, noted. I'm like, always finish your flare.
Yeah.
Every time.
Well, the ones that I love are the ones that like I can't figure out why I keep falling to the left, and then you play back the video as they're extending that left arm to brace for the fall that they know is coming.
Looking at the ground.
Yeah.
But it's so difficult when you become an experienced skydiver to put yourself all the way back to what it was like then, and to tell someone, no, when you're falling left, pull right.
Yeah.
It's very difficult at first to get that across. That no, in that situation, shit's backwards.
Yeah,
And-
yeah. It's,
I think when I first started, like my first 50 jumps were probably PLS.
yeah.
I'm not even joking. And I tell my students
that's why she's really good at it now.
Like, I tell my students to make them feel better. I'm like, don't worry, I did this a lot.
Yeah.
I got you. Like,
Well, you know, the thing is, though, I've always been of the opinion that the worst students most of the time make the best instructors because you've had to push through some of the
Yeah.
hardest shit,
Exactly, yeah.
and you learn the lessons the hard way.
Yeah.
yeah.
And skydiving is not a sport you want to learn shit the hard way if you don't have to, but
Aviation, skydive, everything. I
Right.
think we learn a lot from people's mistakes.
sure.
And I did a lot of mistakes
Oh,
back
yeah.
then. So it's like you could either be the perfect student and not learn anything,
Sure.
or you can be a bad student and fuck up a lot and be like, don't
Sure.
do that.
Sure.
Let me tell you, don't do that because I did it and I know how it feels. Don't do it.
What's the stupidest thing you've ever done as an airline pilot? By the time this episode comes out, you will have quit, I believe. Are you
Oh,
have you
no.
turned in your notice?
That's not even quite. Oh, no. That's gonna get arrested. No. No.
All right, what's the third stupidest thing you've ever done as an airline pilot? I mean, I don't know because I've never flown in the way that you fly. Have you ever had an airline version of a close call?
Not really. Not really.
Is that weird?
It is. It's really weird. I mean, you train for it every 6 months. You train for the worst case scenario.
Sure.
But thankfully, I mean, I've flown with guys.
Thankfully, or do you find yourself wishing something shit would go wrong just to
Yeah,
see if
so
you
get too bored, you know? Like, I don't know. Maybe, you know.
I mean,
but
'cause
then-
you-
But then you got to think of all the people behind you as well. You got a lot of
Yeah,
people,
but
you know?
still.
But it's
like what's the longest flight you would do?
the longest flight that I've done personally, I
Yeah.
think was Australia, actually. It was 14 hours. And
So
a half, yeah.
14 hours. You're not telling me it's 7 hours through that flight. You're like, just something.
Yeah.
Just fucking, just a little excitement. Like,
Yeah, like I think the worst thing that I would say is not even that grand, but it was a bird strike. You know, that's
oh, fuck.
for- yeah, for like
That it most days.
yeah,
Yeah, we like seriously.
Yeah,
You didn't.
like-
It didn't even count as a bird strike. You
Yeah.
didn't get a dozen of them.
yeah, exactly. So if it's like one or two, and with that big machine, you're like, oh yeah, that was a bird strike. You know,
I bet.
But no, I don't think I've ever had something that was like,
I mean,
got me
that's-
going. Like,
that's
I was
really
like,
good.
Yeah,
That's
good.
really good.
Yeah,
That's nice to hear as a passenger, though.
yeah.
Sure, sure.
Right, this shit doesn't happen all the fucking
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because
'Cause
I.
otherwise, if I say it, nobody's gonna start flying anymore.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, you have no idea how many times I've been asked by friends or family that, okay, so hey, you've been a pilot for all these years. Like, if something went wrong on your flight to wherever in a 757, you could like go up and fly it. And I'm like, no, we'd all fucking die.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know where the radios are in that. First, I can't get in the cockpit.
Yeah.
And if somebody magically said, is there a pilot on board? And I went up there, I would have no clue what to do. We're going to fly until this thing runs out of gas, and then we're all going to die.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's
I mean,
it.
you go pitch and power and basics and all that, but all those buttons and
I wouldn't even know how to turn off.
Autopilot, like a big button, like it does that.
it does say autopilot.
Yeah, I mean, if it was that.
autopilot.
What was we had a button a joke button in the twin otter that I flew for Chicago that was the idiot button.
Yeah.
And so you could press that, and it would
Stick over.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'll keep it simple, and you push that. All right, cool. It's all gonna be okay now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it is good to hear, but
Yeah, I don't think so.
So-
I mean, yeah, I've had friends. I had like engine failures and all that stuff, and when I heard that story, I was like, "Fuck, I wish that happened to me." You know, you know what I mean?
My skills all
Yeah,
stimulated.
it's like
training.
yeah, all those years, you're like, "Come on, man, why not?"
I see, and I've had more than my share. I've had enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
So I mean,
I was on the plane with Jacko. That was pretty interesting.
yes, yeah. No, as a passenger, you've definitely had some, and,
as a passenger, I was in a plane crash. Yeah,
how was that?
but after that, the airliners and all that, you're like, whatever, man. I've been on a crash. What are you talking about? You know, like,
So you're getting ready to transition out of flying for the airlines.
yeah.
What brought that about?
Um,
Just tired of it?
I mean, I think because we discussed earlier was like, oh, how do you cope with that and skydiving and all that? I think I pushed too hard for too many years and I was not getting enough rest.
Sure.
That after doing so many night flights for a while, I start to see my body just not taking it as good as when you're 23, 24, 25. You know?
Yeah.
So I think that was the biggest thing. I just needed a break. I needed to rest.
Yeah, fair enough. And so to take that break and give your body a rest, you're gonna be a full-time fucking skydiver.
I'm gonna go skydive more or push even harder.
Instead of just sitting there in the plane, just
I'm not sure I agree with your logic. Like, I mean,
freedom, I think, as well. No, like
yeah.
you make your own hours.
Yeah, like you
travel
just
wherever
you
want
just
to
work
go.
for yourself, and I've never actually done that. And like as soon as I finish school, it's work and this and that, and working for somebody and having somebody. I don't know. I just feel like just working for myself. If I don't want to work, I just send a text to myself and be
Sure.
like, "Hey, Omar's not coming in today," and then reply to the text, "Yeah, no worries. I was with you yesterday.
I'm taking
it
a
was,
day off."
It was a
Yeah.
long night, you know." It's
So what does the family think of that?
oh,
Really?
yeah,
Is that a tough one to bring up?
yeah. It's
Wow. So they're not going to be listening to this podcast, is what
no.
you're saying. All right. All right.
Probably not.
Probably not.
I think they'll know by the time that this comes out.
Yeah, they'll know
For sure.
Yeah.
I've said it a million times on the podcast. My parents were fucking relieved when I started jumping out of airplanes because my previous profession was being a stripper.
Yeah.
So I was exceeding all expectations. Oh my God, he's keeping his pants on and he's just jumping out of airplanes. Bravo. We don't don't die either, but yeah, go.
But
Yeah.
you're not
Yeah,
gonna kick it out.
yeah. So do you think you'll want to fly in the future? Or you don't know? You're leaving that door open?
I'm gonna leave the door open just in case. I mean, I would love to fly, but I think I would much rather fly the kind of flying that you guys do. You know, something hands-on, more fun. You know.
Sure.
I remember we did. It was a demo somewhere or something, and we're flying the plane back to the hangar, and Justin's like, "Oh, you wanna come and have a go?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's been like a few years, you know." And
Sure.
I just sat there. I was like just playing with it. I was like, "Oh my god."
So much fun.
Oh yeah,
So much-
it's like you're actually flying, you know.
You'll have to have deal with people asking you if you want to go back to being a real pilot
Yeah.
someday. But I've been asked.
Every day, yeah. A lot of people are like, "Why are you quitting?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Have you ever had this job before?" Like,
Yeah.
I think it's like the missing out on a lot of things that your friends do, know, and then like the vacation time and
Sure.
the summers here, like everyone kind of takes off, and
Sure.
you want to go experience that, and you want to go experience that life
Sure.
without any restriction.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I've done many times before, but you haven't had the opportunity to do yet. So there's going to be.
Well, and so I assume that the plan is now both you guys are coaching basically full time.
Yeah.
So you not just only have the option to do that here, but anywhere in the fucking world.
Yeah. Exactly.
So as your reputation builds, you know, with amazing shows like this,
Yeah.
then you're able
Can
to.
I say my phone number? Or
Yeah,
email?
absolutely,
Just email me.
absolutely. We'll get on there. Don't get greedy yet. We'll pump you up. It's kind of cool though. I mean, that really does give you an option to just like branch out in any direction that you want.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, I think jumping here, because we don't have a lot of the weather restrictions, right, as a lot of other drop zones around the world. So we get
Sure.
to jump
Sure.
a lot more.
Yeah.
And we get to learn a lot. And I think, like, the last 2 years for me, especially, like, learning a lot and how to coach different things, like, it just comes so fast.
Sure.
But then maybe somewhere else would take a lot longer to get there.
Sure.
At that point. Like, even in Australia. I remember I went home early this year in February, and I was like, oh, yeah, I did, like, 400 jumps this season. And they're like, oh, man, I've done, like, 400 jumps in, like, 3 years. Maybe more. You know, because it's a smaller drop zone. They don't jump as much. And then
Sure.
they have a whole winter that we don't have here.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like, so it's good as a base here to learn here.
Oh, sure. Well, when I got back into active jumping, even just going to the drop zone 1 or 2 days a week, I was able to get a couple hundred jumps a year in. And I mean, and that's flying full time and not wanting to go to the drop zone on days off.
Yeah.
So, and that's a couple of seasons for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
I mean, If you run out of things to do and you can't make money, there's always tandems.
See? See, and you already said that you already said you've gotten past that whole fear factor, so it's time to take on a new challenge.
Like I think I overthink everything.
Of course.
Because I think that just comes naturally for me. Is that I'm definitely an overthinker, and you know, until I do it, once I do it, I'm fine.
Sure.
But it takes me a long time to get there.
Sure.
Like it took me a long time to start skydiving, and I remember as soon as I did it, I was like, it's not that bad, eh?
Right.
Like, and then it took me a long time, like even like with like free fly, you know, I was like, oh yeah, and then like now I push myself a lot harder.
Sure.
And then I mean, Omar hates coaching me something.
Well, I remember having Patrick Kay and Siobhan on, and Patrick's like, "Yeah, I don't fucking jump with her."
You can't coach your partner. Everybody
But you
why
do,
wouldn't you
though.
listen? Just why wouldn't you listen?
I'm not, I think like I've seen other people coaching their partners, and their partners are like, "Fuck you, I'm not doing that." And
I
I'm
do
just
pretty
like,
well.
Yeah, like, and then or like would yell at them like, you know, like
Right.
the whole not coaching your partner thing is just like fuck you, you're telling me to do this, but like I am doing it, and I'm not a very argumentative person. I
Sure.
evaluate myself from the jump, and I'm like, I fucked that up.
Right.
I'm sorry, like, oh shit. Like today, we went jumping today. He's like, oh yeah, go backtrack into head down. Never done it before. Just got my head down, skydiving. And he's like, yeah, just go steeper. And as soon as I tried, then he was gone. And I was like, fucked it up. And I was like, I knew that wouldn't work. But it was all a laugh, you know.
Sure.
So in the tunnel, I'm scared. He coaches me in the tunnel as well. And I'm just like, hell no, I'm not doing that.
Right.
Like, in the sky, at least I'll try. In the tunnel, I'm like, fuck no. Like, why would I do that? Like, no, I'm not going to flip from head up. Like, no.
Right. It's weird when it's your significant other, though, right? I mean, because my wife will sit and patiently listen to my advice and then take none of it. Every time. Like, I know
gotta
you're...
say she does.
Yeah, mine
It's not like-
listens and
Yeah.
then just doesn't do it.
Yeah.
I probably do that too.
Yeah.
I think, I've definitely been like, yeah, of course, yeah, not going to happen.
What's it like? Because you guys became a couple both as active jumpers.
Yeah.
So that's, I mean, it's kind of cool. But do you guys ever have any a part time? If you're jumping
Yeah.
it's just when he's traveling.
No.
I'm coaching, he's coaching. So, like, there's some days that we'll be at the drop zone all day and not see each other
Oh,
because
fair
we're both
enough.
doing two different things, you know? Like,
That's cool.
And then he has, like, tunnel a lot. So we have a lot of separate time, actually.
Cool.
Even holidays, even like last year, I was like, I'm fucking off for a month. I'm gonna go base jumping.
And I
Cool.
was
You
the
go
same.
somewhere else. Do your thing.
I think, like, in the beginning, it was hard to actually find time together.
Sure.
Yeah.
And now we're like, oh, well, I'm doing this and I'm doing this. And then, like, even, like you said, vacations. Like, even this year, he didn't have time off. I'm like, I'm going to go. Like, because I don't want to stay here in the summer. And as much as that sucks and, like, not seeing each other, you have to have your freedom as well. You know?
Sure.
Yeah.
Like, you really have to not be so crazy and be like, no, we need every second together. You know?
Yeah.
You both have to be able to do your own thing.
Sure. Well, and that a part time gives you different stories to tell. And
Yeah,
different
exactly,
people to
yeah.
talk shit about. And,
Yeah,
you know, I
exactly.
mean, you can't tell the horrible student stories if that instructor was with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
I think we've
Absolutely.
only been on an AFF two or three times.
2 and 3 times.
Yeah, like he taught me all my AFF stuff. And then I didn't.
Hence why she's really bad and stuff.
Okay.
No. Can't say fuck you on the podcast.
You can say anything you want. Yeah. Anything you want.
And then, so he came, I think it was the second AFF we ever did
Yeah.
together, and I was primary, and the guy flipped me out the door just super straight. And then he's just laughing at me and then just lets us go. It's like, bye!
I don't doubt it.
What do you do as a gentleman? Right?
I don't
You
doubt
just-
it. Yeah,
it's- I gotta empower my woman, so I
Yeah.
just let it go.
Fair enough.
He is very good at that.
I fucking love it. Well, that's one thing that was always so entertaining about flying these aircraft out here was because I've done AFF and tandem and all that stuff, and these aircraft have closed circuit TV. So I've got a video of the door as everything's happening as well as a mirror.
Yeah.
And the shit that I see going on in that has me in stitches, especially out in the desert. The best I ever saw was a ready, set, go, where the guy went ready in first and set out and then go and actually jumped into the plane.
Oh my God.
And then my second favorite was a student who was just with one instructor. The instructor climbs out. The student faked her out. Instructor, funk, gone.
Yeah.
And I'm just about to nose the plane over, but I see the student looking really confused in the door. And then she runs up to the cockpit to me and goes, should I jump? And I'm like, what level are you on? And she tells me, and I'm like, you should sit down and put on your seatbelt. And then I called Manifest and I'm like, tell so-and-so the instructor, ask them if they're missing something.
It's great with those jumps. And as I'm still a rookie instructor, right?
Right.
So I am scared of that happening.
Sure.
And I've seen it happen to the best of them.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it does.
And then, it's horrible to watch, and I never want that. It's going to happen in my career. I know that it's going to happen,
Of course.
and I'm going to get out and be like, oh, God, they didn't leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that timing is...
I'll never forget, I did my AFF course, and one of the instructor candidates that was in the course got really pissed off because one of the evaluators did something that he said only an experienced skydiver would know how to do in order to evade him during this jump, and he had failed the jump. And Billy Rhodes, the guy that was running the course, just looked at him and smiled and said, you have no idea what students can do.
Yeah, that's true.
You have
That is true.
you will watch a student go into the most flawless head down position,
Exactly.
peeling away from you at light speed with no clue what's happening.
There's people that spin so fast. I can fly my body, and I don't think I can purposely spin that fast in that orientation.
Yeah.
Like I cannot do it intentionally.
The one-man side spin's my favorite.
The what?
The one-man side spin. They have no control.
Yeah,
over it.
yeah.
How
It's
do you
just
even stop that? Like, it's so fast, you're going to get knocked down.
Oh yeah, that's the worst. Is you're like, it is literally the definition of my job is to fly in there and stop that from happening.
yeah.
Fuck.
That happened last year to one of our instructors, and the video is intense, and he keeps trying to stop it, and it is going so fast.
Yeah.
And I think she ended up having to go to the hospital after. Like, she was fine. She pulled, but I think her eyes almost popped out of her head.
She was spinning so fast that there was so much G-force that this woman, she landed with her eyes almost out.
You know,
Red,
like,
just red.
The
Just
bloodshot, like how you pop the
Oh, yeah.
muscle in your eyes.
Well-
Like, it's intense, and then
Yeah.
you try to stop it so many times. It's like, I'm surprised you didn't get knocked out.
Good for him.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched Jacko do an AFF in Cross Keys years back, taking it down to fucking almost Cypress altitude, chasing a student, and just you're watching it going, Jesus Christ, holy shit. At some point, you just got to go, fuck, I hope I turned that Cypress on. I'm pretty sure it was on.
I grounded a student last year. He passed his AFF no problem.
Yeah.
And then got to his solos and his coaching, whatever. He's like his first few solos, we seen him pitch low, but like, what happened? And he was like, I was spinning out of control. And I'm like, why didn't you pitch? So I didn't want line twists. I'm like, oh my God. So like full retraining, everything. We did a couple of jumps where he pitched next to me. He did fantastic, like the normal, do some turns, blah,
Sure.
blah. Take you tracking. Wasn't the track, all good. Pitch next to me again. Third jump, back to normal coaching for A license. And he did a fantastic jump. He got out, went on his back, flipped back to belly, did the jump, tracked away like normal coaching jump for license, went to go check his altimeter on his back. And then just started spinning. And I am miles away because his track was fantastic. I am miles away and he doesn't pitch. And I pitch at like 3 because my canopy at the time took a long time to open. And I was like, I pitch at 3 and I'm just screaming. Like, he can't hear me, but I'm screaming.
Sure.
And I see him go to pitch. I'm like, yes, okay, you're going to pitch on your back. Good. And he doesn't pitch until like 1,200 feet. And as he pitches, the Cypress fires. But it wasn't, like, the timing of it was like, the Cypress fired and it pulled it, but not enough to pull the whole reserve out, like just the bridle.
Oh,
And I was like, oh my God. I'm like grounded forever. Like he's going to die. This has happened twice this week. This happened twice this week, and I'm like, I can't let him skydive anymore.
Yeah.
You know what would give you less stress?
Tandems.
Tandems.
I gave up doing AFF.
He wasn't even AFF man. He was doing for his license. He had passed.
For sure, for sure.
Like, oh my God.
I stopped doing AFF for coaching because I couldn't handle the stress.
Yeah, he was back now. He came back. He did really, really well in the summer. We took his logbook. We're like, someone's going to have to call us if you go somewhere else.
Sure.
And he went somewhere else. And he did his AFF again. And he got like 50 jumps and he came back.
Oh, nice.
And he was like, can I please come back?
I mean, good for him.
Lovely. And he does great. And, yeah.
It's
I think
it's
it
cool,
happens
but
in Europe also the same thing. The whole stress.
it's the I finished off my very last AFF jump was watching a no flare into the road. And I thought she was fucking dead. And when I got to her, she was standing up, smiling, dusting blood and sawdust off of her, thrilled with herself. Yeah. And I'm like, I can't handle this anymore. I'm gonna go back to doing tandems because I know my student's gonna be fine. Or we're both fucked.
Yeah,
it's fine. I would rather potentially be the one to die than watch it happening. Since it all goes in slow motion, as soon as it goes tits up, you're like, oh no.
I think I did the hardest one first, but like I said, I'm a rookie instructor. I don't think I've seen shit yet.
yeah.
Like the real shit hasn't even started yet, and that was just.
I'm 27 years in, and y'all still do shit that surprises me.
Yeah.
I still don't think I've seen it all.
I think they keep coming up with new things.
Oh yeah.
New ways to fuck up.
Oh yeah.
New questions that come
And
out.
lots of retro.
Yeah, I thought I did everything as well. I thought I fucked up, but I did everything. But there's still people that do shit, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I haven't done that before.
Well, when the coaching in AFF isn't enough stress for you, definitely tandems. That's the way to go.
I
Yeah.
think definitely my acupuncture guy. The stress in my shoulder.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
What do you do? And I'm like, I don't think I can explain it to you.
Yeah. I cannot put into words. Yeah.
I carry all my tension in my shoulders.
Yeah.
For sure.
So worldwide coachers, how do people find out about you? How do they track you down if they want to come jump? What kind of coaching specifically do you guys excel in, and how do people come play with you?
I mean, fortunately these days everything is online, and I'm not really a technology geek. I really
Helping
suck.
with his Instagram.
Yeah, I really suck at it, which is surprising because the plane I fly is all technology.
Sure.
But I think that's the only technology I can deal with.
Fair enough.
I mean, it's all Instagram and WhatsApp and all those things. I mean,
So
you'll
you know
find
that
us-
technology requires you to tell me what Instagram.
I don't even know my Instagram.
What is it, Amari?
Amarian 901
Jesus
or
Christ.
903
He also
something.
has, what is it, Desert Sky Alliance? Skydiving?
And the Desert Sky Alliance. That's a team that we started this year with a bunch of free fly coaches, local free fly coaches, and we're trying to.
And this is on Instagram as well.
This is on Instagram
Okay,
as well.
so they can find you at Desert Sky Alliance.
Yeah.
Or what was the other one?
Omarian 901. Yeah.
You're gonna have to work on that.
Yeah, I know. It's got to be something easier.
Yeah, if you're walking away from the airlines to chase your career in coaching,
We're gonna teach him. He's learning to post things
Yeah.
about coaching.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that will help.
That's the first step.
That will
yeah.
help.
Getting there.
That will help.
He's getting there.
How about you?
Mine's Miss_Scappatura for. No one knows how to spell that.
I sure don't.
You should-
No.
No, of course not. No. Yeah, so I kind of go for the beginners.
Cool.
That's what I'm comfortable with. Like
Cool.
that formation, learning how to fly with your friends, beginner tracking, and beginner free flying.
Nice.
Is what my comfort zone is for coaching side of things, which is super fun. And I guess like desert drop zone, come talk to me. I'm pretty approachable. I'll probably just come talk to you to be fair.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm like, what are you doing? Do you need help with that? Like,
Sure.
I'm pretty good at that.
And if you want coaching from me in person, go talk to Nicole. She's
Yeah, I'll look you up.
I like it.
I don't like talking to people a lot.
I like it.
He looks unapproachable, but he's pretty approachable.
Yeah.
You just you got to dig your way in there a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I coach anything. Anything you want to do. If you want to go
If he can coach
ballistic.
me, he can
Yeah.
coach anyone.
Yeah,
You
this-
can do it.
Nice. So all ranges.
Yeah, all ranges, free fly, belly, whatever.
What's your
you wanna-
preference?
My preference?
Yeah.
I would say I don't like tracking. No, I would say sequentials, man. Like I really enjoy head down, like turning points and all that stuff.
Nice.
That's my discipline. That's what I started with initially, and I loved it.
Nice.
Competed in it, so that's what I really love.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's that. Then you're the dynamic duo. You got from beginner all the way up to fucking badass that likes to hang off of cliffs.
Yeah.
Nice. And survive
I didn't
jumping.
break anything as well. So.
Jumping what apparently turned into a fucking waterbed above you
Yeah.
that drags you down the side of a cliff.
Yeah.
And you walked away from it.
Yeah. Nothing broken.
I love it. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, knock wood.
Yeah.
Guys, the last one in the studio. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us. It's amazing.
I really appreciate it. I never thought I would get you on the podcast.
Man, I gotta say, I was pretty nervous at this. A lot more to talk about for sure, but
See,
we'll leave it to another time.
After we're retired from
Because I want to
everything.
see you again. So
Yeah. Well, when
Yeah.
we're all completely retired from everything, the stories will be a little bit more
Absolutely.
specific.
Yeah.
Yeah. A couple good nights out. And
Yeah.
I've had some good nights out for sure.
Yeah.
Like,
Cool.
there's a lot of drop zones to visit.
Yes. All right. Till the future, guys.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you for having us.
See ya. And there you have it. Another episode of Lunatic Fringe Into the Void, brought to you as always by, and say it with me, fuck yeah, NZ Aerosports. Head to nzaerosports.com. By Pussfoot. That's right, head to pussfoot.com, the extreme sports collective, and check out everything they've got to offer. By summitparachutesystems.com. Jarrett Martin and the family cranking out amazing pilot rigs, as well as incredible rigging courses. And now joining the Lunatic team, it's the one and only Tony Suits. You know him, you love him. Head to tonysuit.com. Check out all the amazing standards, as well as the new incredible signature line they've got going on. And as for us, the Lunatic Fringe is now on YouTube. That's right, you're going to have the chance to put faces to the audio by heading to youtube.com and looking up the Lunatic Fringe podcast. It's easy. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, check out all the amazing videos from the previous guests that we've had, as well as new and upcoming interviews on video. As always, I am the fucking pilot. Head to thefuckingpilot.net or theprincesspilot.com. Thanks for joining. We'll see you next time around.
Damn.